The order has been given. After 5 weeks of one of the most intense military campaigns the Middle East has ever witnessed, Israel has received what senior defense officials are now confirming: a green light from the United States of America to strike Iran's energy infrastructure directly. Not missile sites, not military bases, not IRGC command centers, the energy grid, the oil facilities, the power plants that keep 90 million Iranians alive. This is an escalation of a magnitude that geopolitical analysts have been dreading since the first bombs fell on February 28th. Think about what this means for a moment. The United States, the world's most powerful military, has just authorized its closest Middle Eastern ally to systematically dismantle the energy backbone of a nation of 90 million people. A nation that is already absorbing daily airstrikes. A nation whose cities are running low on fuel, electricity, and medical supplies. A nation that has already lost over 2,000 of its citizens in 5 weeks of warfare. And Iran's response? It has not surrendered. It has not negotiated. It shot down 2 American fighter jets, an F-15E Strike Eagle and an A-10 Warthog, in the last 48 hours alone. It has launched fresh missile barrages at Israel, at Gulf states, at American military installations across the region. It has locked down the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway through which 20% of the world's oil flows every single day, and it is showing no intention of reopening it. President Trump has issued a 48-hour ultimatum. He has threatened to bomb Iran back to what he called, in his own words on Truth Social, the Stone Ages. He has warned that the United States has not yet begun destroying what's left of Iranian infrastructure. Bridges are next, then electric power plants. And now, Israel is preparing to execute exactly that vision. Iranian energy facilities, within the next week. If this strike goes forward, we are no longer talking about a regional conflict with global consequences. We are talking about the deliberate destruction of a nation's civilian energy infrastructure in an active war. An act that international law experts are already calling a potential war crime, with consequences for oil markets, global energy prices, and the broader architecture of international security that could take decades to untangle. The Middle East is standing on the edge of something that has no clear off-ramp. We are tracking every development in real time. The situation is moving fast. If you are not subscribed to this channel, do it right now, because in the hours and days ahead, every update matters. This is the full breakdown. Let's go. To understand how we arrived at this moment, Israel poised to strike Iran's energy grid with American authorization, you have to understand the war that built this decision, week by week, strike by strike. It began on February 28, 2026. The United States and Israel jointly launched what they called Operations Roaring Lion and Epic Fury, a coordinated large-scale aerial assault on Iranian military infrastructure, nuclear facilities, and IRGC command structures. The stated objective was blunt and historically unprecedented: create the conditions for regime change inside the Islamic Republic of Iran. The opening strikes were the largest aerial assault in Israeli Air Force history. Among the confirmed targets was a Tehran bunker where Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed, along with Iran's defense minister and several senior IRGC generals, in a single devastating strike. The death of Khamenei, the man who had led the Islamic Republic for over 3 decades, sent shockwaves through the Iranian political system and through every capital on earth simultaneously. Within hours, Iran's surviving military and political leadership activated every retaliatory instrument at its disposal. Week 1 saw Iran launch massive missile barrages at Israel, striking residential areas in Tel Aviv, Bnei Brak, and Haifa. Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, found themselves suddenly in the crossfire as Iran targeted American military infrastructure on their soil. The Strait of Hormuz, which Iran had threatened to close for decades, was effectively shut down. Global oil prices spiked immediately. Week 2 brought intensification on both sides. US and Israeli strikes expanded across Iran, hitting missile production facilities, air defense systems, and military airfields. Iran responded by activating its full proxy network. Hezbollah opened a fierce northern front against Israel, conducting 60 military operations in a single 24-hour period. Houthi forces in Yemen escalated their attacks on Red Sea shipping. Iranian-backed militias struck American bases in Iraq and Syria. Week 3 and 4 saw the conflict metastasize into the Gulf. Iranian drone strikes hit Kuwaiti oil infrastructure. Bahrain, home to the US Navy's Fifth Fleet, heard air raid sirens. The UAE intercepted incoming Iranian drones. Israel's simultaneous costs mounted. The war with Iran, continued operations in Gaza, and the renewed northern front with Hezbollah had cost the Israeli economy an estimated $112 billion. Week 5, this week, brought a defining series of escalations. 2 US fighter jets were shot down. Iran struck Israel's water and power infrastructure. Trump threatened the Stone Ages. And now, the green light for the energy grid strikes has been given. 36 days of warfare have led to this moment, and the decisions made in the next 72 hours will define what the next chapter of this conflict looks like and how much worse it can still get. Here is precisely what we know and where the contested claims begin. According to a senior Israeli defense official, whose statement was reported by Haaretz on April 3rd, Israel is actively preparing strikes on Iranian energy facilities and is awaiting final authorization from the United States. The official stated that such attacks would likely come within the next week. This is not speculation. This is a senior Israeli defense official confirming an operational plan that is in its final preparation phase. The immediate trigger for this authorization appears to be Trump's own public escalation posture. In posts on Truth Social this week, Trump declared that the United States had not yet begun destroying what's left of Iranian infrastructure, listing bridges and electric power plants as next targets. He threatened to bomb Iran back to the Stone Ages if Tehran did not reach a negotiated settlement. These public statements, made by a sitting American president during an active military conflict, function simultaneously as domestic political messaging and as operational signals to both Israel and Iran. The specific facility already in the crosshairs is Iran's energy and petrochemical sector. The IDF has already struck Iran's Mashhad petrochemical complex in southwestern Iran, which Israeli military stated was responsible for producing and exporting chemical materials to Iran's armed forces. That strike was the opening move in what now appears to be a deliberate, phased campaign to systematically dismantle Iran's industrial and energy capacity. Israel's stated position. Israeli officials frame the energy strikes as legitimate military targeting, arguing that Iran's petrochemical facilities are dual-use infrastructure that directly supports its military production and missile program. They further argue that destroying Iran's energy revenue removes the financial foundation of its war-fighting capacity. Iran's position. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has been categorical. Striking civilian infrastructure, including bridges and power facilities, will not compel Iran to surrender. Iran's position is that attacks on energy infrastructure constitute violations of international law and amount to collective punishment of civilian populations. Iranian President Pezeshkian has described Trump's threats as a clear admission of intent to commit massive war crimes. The international legal dimension. Independent international law experts are already raising serious questions about the legality of deliberately targeting civilian energy infrastructure under the laws of armed conflict. The Geneva Conventions impose significant restrictions on attacks that can be expected to cause civilian harm disproportionate to military advantage. Destroying a nation's power grid in winter, with consequences for hospitals, water treatment, heating, and food supply, occupies deeply contested legal territory. The plan is set. The authorization is being finalized. The strikes are coming.